If you have 76 minutes of your time,
Then go watch part 1 and 2.
It's called the Midwest because every single thing in it is me!
Man, horror movies have not been good this year. Coming on number 6, we got Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Man, before diving into Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, when I first heard about this movie, I literally thought that Disney went out of their way to make an actual Winnie the Pooh horror movie. But no, in actuality, Winnie the Pooh is in the public domain now, so now everybody can use Winnie the Pooh to make their own little horror movie or hell, even action movie if you felt like it. But yeah, when I watched Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, like originally, I was thinking that this was going to be some kind of dumb parody film. But when I watched it, my god, this was laughably bad. honestly, like, look at, like, you see this image right there? Like, look at the masks on these, like, and apparently in the movie, it's intended that they're anthropomorphic creatures, right? But at the same time, they don't even do anything to it. Like, it's mostly just, oh, I'm a guy in the costume. Well, no, actually, I'm Winnie the Pooh. I'm an anthropomorphic animal. I'm gonna get ya. And bro, and this movie opened up so many plot holes, especially because I can't even remember much in this movie, especially because the more I think about this movie, the more I forget about it. And I'm shocked how this came out this year because it felt like if it came out literally a decade ago or something like that. But where was I? Oh yeah, so there's one plot hole in the movie about one of the girls where she feels like she's being followed. And at first I thought, could that be Winnie? But that wasn't solved at all. Like, literally, that went nowhere. That went literally nowhere. And then all of, like, usually in horror movies, you do kind of root for the characters to survive or something like that. But I wasn't even rooting for any of the characters. Like, none of them had any good development or anything. And man, they really had to ruin my childhood for this. But at first, again, like I said earlier, at first I thought this was going to be a dumb, fun movie. But it wasn't. It was stupid. Like, all I'm saying is that Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey is stupid. And I'm surprised how the company behind this is making a number 2 and a Peter Pan one. And recently Mickey Mouse has entered the public domain. So now they're making a Mickey Mouse horror movie. Oh god. The Mickey Mouse Trap movie looks terrible. But the other one looks interesting. I'll give that a watch. The movie was barely even scary. It did have some pretty gruesome kills, especially that one scene where, okay, I'm not gonna go into details, just like in my surprising movies list when I was talking about Equalizer 3, but, it basically has to do with, a woman's head being crushed by a tire of a car, while Winnie is driving in, or Winnie or Piglet was driving in, and yeah. And there's also another scene where Winnie the Pooh chases this random girl who we do not know who she is. She's just one of those random victim girl characters, which you usually see in these kind of horror movies, and then for some reason Winnie takes off her shirt and then throws her into a wood chipper. So yeah, my final score for this godforsaken movie is I think this is a 2 out of 10. Like, what the hell did I even watch? Because the story of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey is basically Winnie and Piglet going on a murderous rampage because Christopher Robin went to college, and then Christopher Robin was like, oh, I know, why not I bring my wife or my fiancé to these animals, and oh no, my wife is dead! How dare you, Winnie! And then, holds him in hostage for the rest of the movie, and for the course of the movie, we just see Christopher Robin just constantly getting beat up while Piglet goes after the girls and Winnie as well. But yeah, let's dive into number 5. Coming in at number 5, we got Megan. So, Megan. Before watching this movie, when I first heard about Megan, I was thinking, another killer doll movie. But this time, the plot did sounded interesting. Where it was about this doll, where it's meant to be sort of like your Alexa, your Siri, and whatever, but it's combined into like one doll. Sort of like the Child's Play remake, which I haven't seen. And I don't think I ever will. But yeah, I didn't watch this in January when this came out. But I did watch it in October. Because Halloween was coming up, and you feel me. So, yeah. And when I watched it, personally, I thought it was mediocre. I wouldn't really want to say that this was as bad as Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Like, it was far better than Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and the rest of the movies on this list. Some of the kills were cool in the film, but there's one slight problem. And it had the exact same problem as Rebel Moon. It had a R-rated cut, but then they trimmed it down to make it a PG-13. And you know how the BBFC is? This was a 15. And like I said with Five Nights at Freddy's, but with this one, it did kind of make sense for the 15 rating. It made much more sense compared to Five Nights at Freddy's. But yeah, but not only that, but the doll of like Megan, of her transforming from good to bad, it was alright. Personally, like how she had a malfunction, but you know what the mother, actually not the mother, the aunt, you know what the aunt could have done? Maybe she could have at least fixed up a little slight tiny bits of Megan. The acting was alright in Megan, especially the kid in the film. She did a decent performance in the movie, and overall, I do see myself rewatching this movie sometime. But yeah, at times Megan didn't felt scary. At times, like the doll wasn't that scary, personally, except for that one part of the movie where she killed that dog. Painful scene. But Megan as a character, she wasn't scary, personally, but at least she was not like Annabelle in The Conjuring, where she just sits there and does completely nothing. So yeah, I can't remember much from Megan. But yeah, overall, the movie is a 4 out of 10. I think this could have been a bit better, especially because in the trailers, you clearly saw that there was going to be blood, and this was meant to be rated R. But then Blumhouse decided to make this into a PG-13 due to all of the TikTok kids thinking, oh my god, this Megan movie looks funny, and how she does this little dance of hers. Oh my god, LOL, I should go out and see this movie. Good. Let's dive into number 4. Coming in at number 4, we got The Creator. Man, sci-fi movies have also not been doing great this year. So, before diving into The Creator, I remember I was scrolling on Instagram, and then I heard about this new film called The Creator, where it's meant to take place far ahead in the future, where it's basically like a world where there's like war with humans and AI. Sounds very familiar, doesn't it? It stars John David Washington, who did a incredible performance in Tenet. And it's about him trying to secure this robot who is basically built like a child, but apparently she's supposed to be the target, I guess. And throughout the course of the movie, it was meant to be like a bond between John David Washington's character and the robot girl. And personally, when I watched the movie, like you weren't even able to connect with John David Washington's character and the robot. I literally forgot her name. Let's just call her Robot. I don't care. But yeah, we don't really get to see how they bond with each other. And also another problem which I have with The Creator is that the way how it interprets AI, and we clearly see that they're barely not even behaving like robots, because sure, they replicated the brain of a human, but an actual robot wouldn't actually say real human things. So that felt very not so robot-y. I remember after watching the Creator, my mom recommended me AI, and to be honest, AI was exactly the movie what I thought The Creator was going to be. But in actuality, all it is just the recycled script from Rogue One with a mixed bag between Steven Spielberg's AI and Terminator. I haven't seen Terminator. Bruh. This is very similar to Terminator. But yeah, and don't get me wrong, the cinematography was very beautiful. I was jaw-dropped all the way through the movie with those excellent shots, like this one, for example. But overall, like story-wise, it's very meh. And you don't even get to feel like you should root for John David Washington. I mean, I'm just gonna call him John David Washington. I don't even care if he's called I literally forgot his name. Man, this movie was so forgettable, which really sucked though because 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 I was thinking to myself, finally another, well, not another, but like we were gonna get some. Like I was thinking to myself, ah, yes, finally an original sci-fi film, not based off of a book, not a sequel to a already existing movie. I was hyped. I was stoked. But then when I watched it, I thought it was meh. Like it was so meh. Like the only good things to come out of this movie were the cinematography and the visual effects. That's it. That's it, really. That's it. But again, it really sucks though that I had to put the creator on this list because before diving in, like the movie wasn't on my radar at first. Like I didn't even hear about any announcements on the movie. Like I just saw a trailer on Instagram. I was hyped, and yeah. So yeah, my final score for the creator is, I think this is probably a 3.1 out of 10. Now I do kind of wish that I put this on the disappointing list, but I wasn't over the moon excited for the creator compared to the other movies in my disappointing list. But I do wish there was like something more to the creator, not just, oh my god, it's in the future, oh my god, AI, but this time, the way that you could tell that they're robots is because they have those little ring things around their necks and stuff, and it's like, okay, but at least show how a robot or a AI would behave if it was for real. But thinking about it right now, this is crazy how now we live in an age where there's going to be AI. Like we already have like AI generated stuff, because that recently popped up last year with ChatGPT and all this other stuff, and Elon Musk is planning on making robots. Let's just move on to number 3 before I get scarred for life. So, coming in at number 3, you saw the thumbnail, and this movie is a movie which wasn't released in cinemas, and I didn't watch it at cinemas at all. And this came out on YouTube, actually. And that movie is SpiderMan Lotus. Bruh, SpiderMan Lotus, like, the movie could have been something. Especially because Gavin J. Knop was hyping up this movie like if it was the next coming of Christ. Saying that that's going to be better than most of the Spider-Man movies, and this was also meant to be like this meant to take place after Gwen's death, right? But in the movie, like, you do get to see Gwen's death in that intro, but most of the movie was barely even like Spider-Man-y. Like, most of the movie was just Gwen. Like everyone in that damn movie is just sad about something, and that's it. That's literally the entire movie, bro. And Gavin, oh my god. Shouldn't have said those racist comments. But I mean, to be fair though, in my channel, I have tried making movies myself. Like, especially recently, there was The Untold, which came out in October. I wanted to make that just to see how people would think of it, because in the future I really want to become a director. But yeah, speaking of movies, the Idiot Squad is postponed, just to let you guys know. Anyways, back to SpiderMan Lotus. So, most of the movie, like I said, most of the movie was just everybody grieving about Gwen's death. And that's literally it. And it goes on for a solid 2 hours. Honestly, I think this should have been a short film. This honestly should have been a short film. And now the reason why I thought this was mediocre, like I wouldn't really want to say that this was bad, is because it did have some pretty good scenes. Like those visual effects shots in the movie did look pretty cool at times. While it did look like something which you would see from a PS4 video game, but it wasn't as worse as The Flash, though. That's for sure. Hopefully, the visual effects team behind SpiderMan Lotus, hopefully they could work on other projects like these, because if you're watching this video, congratulations! Like, you guys did a spectacular job with this movie, and Gavin, I think you gotta treat people with respect. You gotta treat people with respect. Yeah, SpiderMan Lotus gets a... I think this is probably like a solid 2 out of 10. Because most of the movie was just either characters grieving about Gwen's death, or it's just 5-minute long shots of Harry Osborn walking around New York doing absolutely nothing. And most of the time when we get to see Spider-Man being I get this was made on like a lower budget and stuff, but most of the movie is just Peter Parker grieving about Gwen. But yeah, honestly, I think this should have just been a short film. This literally just should have been just a quick Spider-Man fan short film, and then boom, done. On to number 2. Coming in at number 2, we got... I already know most people are probably gonna hate me for this, but Blue Beetle. Before diving into Blue Beetle, I was kind of familiar with the character of Blue Beetle. But I never read any of the Blue Beetle comics, but I only knew him from the Injustice video game. So, yeah, when I heard the Blue Beetle movie was coming out, I was pretty excited. And hell, I even saw the trailers, and it looked like it would be a fun time. Like, I didn't expect this much coming from Blue Beetle, but when I watched it, the movie just felt so predictable. Like I had the same problem with Blue Beetle, just like how I did with the Creator, where this movie just felt like if it was borrowing from so many other superhero movies, like the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie, The Incredibles, what else? Iron Man, and plenty of other superhero movies. Oh yeah, and even Shazam as well, because actually the movie, there's actually a part of the movie where it says, where it goes on about this monologue about family and stuff, and it's like, sounds very familiar, doesn't it? And yeah, personally, the villain felt very on the nose, as in very basic and typical. Like, it's something which you would always get from these kind of superhero movies, where it's, oh, I need to grab that scarab before he does, and stuff. But yeah, most of the characters were alright in Blue Beetle. In this movie, you don't really get to connect with any of the characters in the film. And spoilers, but when the father died in the movie, I I didn't even feel any like any tear, nothing, literally nothing. But yeah, I did make like a video, like an out of cinema reaction to Blue Beetle on my channel, which you could watch up there, where I say that this movie is like a mishmash between Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man movie and blah 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 blah. But I remember just thinking to myself, this was meh. And I still thinking like, I haven't even rewatched Blue Beetle. But I'm surprised how people have been putting this on their best superhero movies list. And if you like this movie, then good for you, good for you, good for you. But to me, this just felt like Spider-Man combined with Iron Man, and also with a mix between the family element of like the super family element with The Incredibles and the whole, oh, I'm not sure if I should become a superhero. I don't want to be a superhero. You should become a superhero because that's the only choice you have, because great power comes great responsibility. The costume design of Blue Beetle did look kind of cool. And Solomon, I can't say it. I can't say his name. He does a pretty good performance playing as Jaime Reyes, aka Blue Beetle. And I did sort of like what they did there with the concept of the scarab. And also that there's like generations of Blue Beetle. Like there's a Blue Beetle from the past and yada yada yada. And I really hope that the character returns. And maybe he could step up a bit compared to his own movie. But honestly, I don't think this should have even been called Blue Beetle, because I think this should have just been called Super Hispanic Family. That's it. Because Blue Beetle was in there. We did get Blue Beetle, but then the climax and the rest of the movie. The rest of the movie was just super family. That's what Blue Beetle was. But yeah, my final score for Blue Beetle is a 3 out of 10. I rated this higher than SpiderMan Lotus because man, this was much more entertaining compared to SpiderMan Lotus, but in the third act, I did kind of felt a bit sleepy while watching this. But yeah, I really hope that Blue Beetle returns to the DCU, and hopefully James Gunn makes a pretty good cinematic universe. And yeah, like outside of these movies, most of the superhero movies this year have either been a disappointing movie or a mediocre movie, like this one. But yeah, let's dive into number 1. Man, last year DC was not winning. Coming in at number 1, we got The Flash. Honestly, I don't get why everybody was hyping up this movie to be the next Dark Knight. This was not the best comic book movie of all time. This was clearly not. Like, before diving in, like, I was pretty hyped for The Flash, especially because, The Flash is one of those iconic DC characters, and since he never really got like his own full-on live-action movie, I was kind of stoked. But then, just like with SpiderMan Lotus, but except this guy did things that are much more worse than you can even imagine. But yeah, the reason why this is number 1 on the mediocre list is because the way how this movie was trying to be Spider-Man No Way Home, but except with a DC, because basically in this movie, The Flash goes back in time to save his mother. And don't get me wrong, the plot was pretty cool. But then we get thrown Michael Keaton and then Sasha Calle's Supergirl, who was very emotionless. And I think the only reason why she was there is because, I don't know, we needed Supergirl, I guess. And, oh god, thank goodness that we're getting a reboot, because apparently before the cancellation of the Batgirl movie, originally the Flash was meant to set up this entire universe, like this new universe with Sasha Calle's Supergirl, Michael Keaton's Batman, and yeah, honestly, the DCEU would have gotten a lot worse if they would have kept this original idea. But yeah, moving on from that and back to the film itself. But yeah, overall the story felt very meh. Like, I get what it was trying to do. With the objective that he's trying to return, his own mother, and by going back in time, by going super duper fast. But then Ben Affleck Batman is like, I don't know if you should do this. But then the Flash goes out of his way and does it anyway. And then Zod comes back, and yeah, and then he goes to this alternate universe where it's meant to set in 2013, but this was before the Flash got his powers, and I liked a bit about that, but well, my god, the young Flash was annoying as hell. He wouldn't shut up for 5 freaking seconds. And oh my god, the CGI, bro. No offense. Okay, this is not targeting. Like, I'm not Taika Waititi, where I make fun of the visual effects team, even though they were working their ass off to make the visual effects in this movie. And yeah, and this isn't their fault. It's mostly the director's fault for constantly pushing these visual effects artists who barely get paid, and then they get PS4 graphics like this. Like this! Oh, man, I just had a rage thing back there. But yeah, at times the CGI looked like something out of a PlayStation 4 video game. Like, this was much worse. Like, SpiderMan Lotus' CGI, that was okay, because you knew that this was on a lower budget. But this was on like a higher budget. And the CGI be looking like dog water, honestly. But yeah, Michael Keaton, like the only, I never grew up watching any of like the Michael Keaton Batman movies. But I do remember seeing the first Michael Keaton Batman movie before diving into The Flash. But I did watch it before seeing the Batman. So I was sort of familiar with it, but I'm not. But I wasn't like over the moon nostalgia for it, like I was with Tobey Maguire. But the way how they throw him in there, it just felt like nostalgia bait, honestly. And maybe this is why they use Michael Keaton in the advertisements, is just to get butts in seats, so that they could forgive this criminal. And yeah, and this is why I didn't watch Aquaman 2, because of...
My dog stepped on a bee.
You know who. But yeah, but then the final act of the movie, it was okay, but then the post-credit scene of it, where it's meant to be all jokey, where the Flash ends up in a universe where George Clooney is Batman and stuff. And then there's like another post-credit scene, which I don't know if this was meant to like hint to Aquaman 2, but honestly, I think they should have canceled Aquaman 2. But anyways, where Aquaman falls into a puddle, Huh? 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 It's not funny. My final rating for The Flash. To be honest, I think this might have to be a. I know that the rest of the movies on this list were either a 3 out of 10 or a 2 out of 10 or whatever. But I think I'll probably put this as a 3 out of 10. And yep, that was my mediocre list, everybody. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in. Well, what? What's happening? What? Why is everything starting to become all shiny? What? Ah! Where the hell am I? What am I holding? Is this an Oscar? Am I on the stage? Wait. Oh no, you better not do this to me. Oh no, I ain't waiting another week for this. I ain't waiting another week for this for one tiny